Greetings, everyone. There's nothing special about me except the fact that I have a discerning spirit and that when the writing is on the wall, I'm able to see it and interpret. But more than anything else, I am very obedient to the spirit. When I'm sent to declare a message, I do so. But at no point do I want to become arrogant when things are manifested, because one has to be humble or remain humble at all times. Now, a few persons have been sending messages to me and forwarding, my video that I did about a year ago about this couple. And before I get into it, I just want to say that I wish them all the best, and that when it comes to marriage, I am someone who feel like I have to be limited on the things that I say. If I see have observation and I want to warn a couple to say, be cautious, pay attention to this or that, I will speak. But I do not want to say negative things about people's marriage, because the truth is, when these individuals are getting together, I didn't know them. A lot of us didn't know anything about them. When they were having their good days and their wonderful time, when they were putting the head on the same pillow and they were doing the love talk, I was not there. Therefore, I don't have the right to speak with any kind of condemnation. But I'm going to speak a little bit on this, as it relates to Kim and Boo. So you have all these persons coming out and saying, Jenny, this is going down. First and foremost, we are behind the fence. So we only know what people are prepared to tell us. But what I can say with that spiritual discernment is that Kim has decided to move out of her matrimonial home, if you can call it that, because she does not feel comfortable in it. Not necessarily because Boo is making her feel uncomfortable in that situation, but when you look at the age gap relationship between Boo and Kim, understand that Boo had a life before her. Boo has big children. When you're marrying someone, and a lot of persons don't think about these things, when you get married to somebody who's that much older, or even someone who's the same age as yourself, their history or their past remains in that household. And adult children have so much say over your husband's choices, decision, his assets, and all those things. So when you are a young person coming into that relationship, and young doesn't mean age, it just means a new marriage, you have to tread cautiously. And if you want to feel like you're a woman in your own household, oftentimes that means you have to be in a household that you feel that you have all the power to rule in, do as you like. When you move in a ready-made situation as a wife, you can't go about to say, well, I don't like this color, I don't like this drape, I don't like the way this bedroom is set up. It would seem like you're taking over. It would seem like you're going into someone else's space, because at this point, even though you're the wife, really, you can't even determine if a picture stays on a wall, if the person who owns that house or the family who is associated to that house decide that you can only stay here. Let's keep it real. There are a lot of persons who enter into marriage and they find out shortly after their husband, yeah, forbids. I'm not hoping for this, but I'm just saying sometimes the partner passes away, and the moment the person passes away, they're put out of that space. So because you don't know the whole story, you can't then come out and say, this young girl doesn't want this man no more, and this man and his wife is having problems. The young lady might just see the need to move out of that environment where she doesn't feel like she has agency. Those of you understand this, understand. I don't have the right to speak on her life because I don't know her like that. But because I spoke on their situation in the past and predicted a certain thing or just kind of alluded to a certain thing, folks feel like, yes, this is it. These two people are married. They're the ones who took the vow until death do us our ways. And some things are inevitable, but we don't speak on this because we know life, there's power in the tongue. So before you start judging, the situation or even condemning this young lady, we have to think. Some of us are being very selfish in asking her to do some things that you wouldn't want your daughter to do. If the young woman got to an impasse where her and her husband has decided to separate, or we to say anything, you can encourage them if you knew what was happening. And there are times when separation is important for one reason or the other. There are concerns that I would have as a viewer, that I would not want to speak because, again, I recognize the power of the tongue. Okay. And I have no intention of bringing on any condemnation. As I said, there are certain things that are inevitable. Okay. Whether you want it or they want it, it is going to happen. Now, at this moment, when she's making the decision to move out, relaying whatever fears or feelings or concerns that she has, and I'm going to tell you right now before she ever speak on it, is feeling like, I'm in this house, but it's not my home. I'm in this space where I feel like I have no say. And I'm not going to speak on this if it's going to make my partner look bad. But listen, there are times when people are in that type of relationship where other person on the outside have more say than you do. So it's not a matter of, oh, ungrateful Kim has moved along. Bo or Boo knew what he was signing up for. Unless he was kidding himself, sorry. And Kim knew what she could tolerate and couldn't tolerate and already had made her decision even before this day. So as a family, as a couple, try to figure out their way and, navigate their lives, as she says. And there's so many clues she has given in that video. But listen, some of us as viewers, we feel like we're entitled to hear all people's personal business and story because you happen to be following them, because you're showing them love. When it comes to these intimate things, we're not really entitled. People don't have to tell you anything unless they choose. But people are invested in these things. This is why when you see people and you like them and you're supporting them, though, you can't afford to fall into these fairy tale romances and go off crazy la la land because you're living vicariously through them. Live your own life. Stop forcing persons to live your life. You're asking them to live a lie. And she's very aware that if she comes and tell the truth, the real truth of how she feels, jogging, and before you know it, she's canceled. So she's smart. But the story will come out. The only thing I'm going to say to you, Kim, is be very careful. You have the right to make a decision and to find peace and to be happy. But do not take anybody for granted. And pray and ask for divine protection and hope that everything will work out according to the plans of the Most High. These situations can start out seeming like a smooth transition, but you'll be surprised what can happen. Be very careful. Not too long ago, they were in Jamaica having a wonderful time as a couple. And remember, they do social media and they know how to market. Keep that in mind. No one is going to drag me out to come out here and say too much about people's marriages. It's not my personal thing. I like the couple. I spoke on them. I leave the rest for the universe, and I leave the rest for them to come and share. Stay blessed, everyone.